Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I'm Kimberly Ann Southwick.
I'm Alastair Patton.
And I'm Mae. Now that we've had this lovely introduction, I suggest you piss off Schults. And we're here to talk Angel Season 3, Episode 2, That Vision Thing.
Yay! Before we fully get into the episode, what did we think upon this rewatch? With Angel, a lot of times when I do my rewatch, I'm like, I don't really remember much of this episode. I was smushing this episode with the Cordelia birthday episode.
Me too.
I love that episode.
Me too. I thought, oh my gosh, is this that episode? And then I was like, no, it's not that episode. Because I love that episode.
Because, right, it's like the first 20 minutes are kind of the same premise where it's like her visions are so bad and then...
Yeah, I mean, it's setting you up for that episode, especially with the introduction of Skip, who is one of my favorite characters in the entire Buffyverse. I fucking love Skip. He's this giant, intimidating looking demon who looks like he's made of obsidian. And he's just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, him? Yeah, he's supposed to be here.
No, I definitely loved Skip in season 3.
Yes, in season 3.
I love Skip in season 3. Yes.
I really hate what they do with him in 4 because I do like him. Yeah, but Alistair, what do you think of the episode? I feel like I interrupted you. Go ahead. What do you think of the episode?
No, I loved it. Like I said before when we were texting Ian, this is probably might be my favorite Angel season. I don't do favorite Buffy seasons, but I think that this might be my favorite Angel season because I think it's where Angel finally has its full footing. So this is the second episode. I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of also setting up the longer plot for the entire series while making it just episodic. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think Angel, up to now, hadn't been that good at doing that, but I think this season it felt like Mae, I think it was you or Brett said in the last recording for the first episode that this was the first season where weirdly adding Fred fully, the show finally found out fully what it was, and it was more confident in the storytelling and the dynamics and the ensemble of it all, rather than monster of the week and Angel fights it and kills it.
Yeah, I think we were all in agreement on that, but I think it was actually Colin who said it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Mae, what do you think of this episode, revisiting it? I
like this one. It's a little hard to watch because I hate seeing my darling Cordy in pain. Yeah. There's a lot of interactions that people have with Fred in this episode that kind of bother me. They talk down to her a lot. They're very condescending.
Yeah.
And it's different than how Angel interacts with her in the previous episode. I talked about how I have a problem with one little thing that he does, but otherwise he's very kind. He's very nurturing. He's talking to her on level ground. Yeah. Whereas Wesley is quite literally, but also figuratively talking down to her when she's sitting under that little folding table eating Chinese food. And it's like, dude, you could ask her to join you without talking to her like she's a child. She's not a child. She's an adult. She's very, very smart. And she's got a lot of fucking trauma that she's still processing. Don't talk to her like that. Say, hey, Fred, would you like to join us? That's it.
The thing which I think I said this last episode, Alistair, I don't know how you feel. It took me a while to really love Fred. When I watched it the first time around. Now I love her because I know I love her, right? But this took me a minute because there was so much of this at the top of it where it's she's just kind of scared and skittish. And I'd be but then I grew to love her.
So I loved Fred from the get-go, from Pylea. I think she's so weird and quirky in a way that's needed for the group. Because everybody's weird and quirky in their own way, but she's very out there weird and quirky where she adds stuff to the conversation that don't feel like they should be part of the script, but that
and she's not so serious.
Yeah, but she's serious about it. So I think that she added an element that we didn't see before in the Angel series, and a bit of seriousness but unseriousness at the same time, even while going through her trauma. Because her trauma, it is traumatic and she's going through a lot of stuff, but it is hugely entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
Like to see her reacclimatize herself to the world, to the modern world, and what that looks like to her, because she's seeing everything in a completely different way than everybody else is seeing everything.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and that also good use of reacclimatizing. I do. I'm like kind of charmed by her always being under the table. Except the first time she did it, I was like, wait, that's stupid. And then I was like, oh no, she lived in a cave.
Yeah.
That does make sense that she would be more comfortable in a like tight, confined spot to like eat.
Also,
Kim,
not gonna lie, I probably did stuff like that when I was in high school. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna sit on the floor under the table. I feel more comfy down here.
Kim, remember when you did that?
I was like, Ian's about to tell a story. Yeah, I don't really remember why, but I definitely spent some time under Ian's kitchen table and acting weird.
I remember coming upstairs from the basement, you laying under the kitchen table in my parents' kitchen and being like, okay.
That seems like something I would do too.
But Kim, what did you think of this episode?
Good times. I felt like it was a transitional episode. Like it was one intended to give us information. And I enjoyed watching it, but I could tell that it was a transitional episode. I didn't love that part about it. In the Fred conversation, I love Fred. I think I always loved her. She's like good Drusilla.
I could see that with like the weird bit, like how weird she is, and like, yeah, you do love. I mean,
she doesn't stay good Drusilla, but right now she's like good Drusilla.
Yeah, I liked the episode. I thought it was an improvement from the first one. Again, there's like I was mushing it up. I kept waiting for like her birthday to be the thing. But yeah, no, we opened the episode with Wes and Gunn are kind of worried about talking to Cordelia. She kind of just breezes by. And I like Fred being like, B plus C. Like a girl can always tell. Like she kind of like drags them for like not doing a good job of like not seeming nervous to talk to her. She's under the table. Wes and Gunn kind of like get her to come out. And Mae, I think it's Gunn that's like, you remember forks? I was like, all right, come on. Like,
yeah.
That was where I like also agree with you, where I was like, yeah, she knows what a fucking fork is, dude. Like,
it led to that great line though, where she says that she's been forking with Gunn, and there's like a brief awkward pause, and then we just all move past it. So I'll allow it for that.
I do love all of the double entendres and little dirty jokes that they managed to write into the scripts on this show, because they're very charming, they're very simple, and they're very realistic, because that's how me and all of my friends interact. If we can turn something into a dirty joke, we are going to. And sometimes it's just like a quick moment and then it dissipates. It doesn't get addressed again. It's just like people are like, huh, and then they move on. And so that's something I really do like about Angel, and especially this season, where everyone is kind of in the right place to all work together as an ensemble.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, them all being in the right spot. And we do get the like Fred of it all gives us more for like, I don't find Wes and Gunn always that interesting. I like them, but they're not like, they are definitely, I don't know that I always love the love triangle we'll get into, but like this dynamic is like cute. We're at least giving like these three characters can do stuff without Angel or Cordelia. And like Angel and Cordelia are clearly like the A main characters, and they would be the, B main characters, which is fine.
I think the problem with Wes and Gunn is that they're very stereotypes, and the other characters feel more like characters. Whereas like Wes is like librarian research nerd, and Gunn is like, I'm the black guy.
Yeah.
We're like, we've talked about the problematic nature of his character multiple times. Though the actor does a great job with it. And you learn to love his character pretty quickly in the show, certainly. But like, I think that their antics are kind of stale to us because they're more like caricatures.
So I see Gunn as more stereotyped, whereas I see like the introduction of Fred and her quirkiness allows Wes to move out of his quirkiness and take more control as a character. Because especially, I mean, we've already seen Wes move out of, his weird, awkward watcher phase, right? But he's able to like move into that more clearly with them giving more of that dialogue to Fred, and him taking more of a slightly brooding nature. Obviously, he's going through his own trauma that we explore later on as well.
And I do think, to your point, Alastair, this is the season when they like get better at that with Wesley. Like, I feel like, you know, we get the whole like baby prophecy and like him, you know, with Lila and all that shit, which I don't know how I'm wondering how I will feel going through it for the podcast, because that is like not my favorite side story this season, but I do love this season. But I feel like
love Lila in this episode, especially though. Well, yeah, Lila's one of my favorite bitch characters.
Yes,
because she's so cutthroat and so dedicated to what she does. And also, there is a part of her that you can tell is like, oh, I do kind of feel a little bad about some of the things I do when she's confronted with them.
Yeah. Yes.
And she does get rattled. She does get shaken sometimes. And we see that a little bit in this episode, but she always comes back strong. And that's something I just really appreciate about her character. And we've seen it before, but I think this season it's extremely prevalent.
Yeah.
And I think the writers do a really good job of us kind of like almost, well, at least me, I sometimes want her to succeed in her evil plots. I'm like,
that's right.
I want you to have a win, Lila. I want you to have a win.
Break that glass ceiling, baby.
I mean, I don't want you to destroy Cordelia, another woman. Do it, but you know, I want you to have a win. No,
Alastair, I agree with you, because it's like, I mean, it's like what you said, Mae. It's that the Stephanie Romanoff is just very good at the like, I'm an evil bitch, but like sometimes you see the crack a little bit where she's like, oh fuck, what did I do? And like, which, you know, in the episode Billy, we get even more of that, which I love.
I hope I get to be on that episode. I don't remember if you already scheduled that one.
I think I did. I'm sorry.
God damn it. It's okay.
But I like, I think that's why I love Lila, because we do still, like when Angel rips her up this episode, I was like, ooh. Like I don't want her to get beat up. I want it to be like, I like when she's like kind of like being like a cat around him, where she's like putting her arm on his shoulder and walking circles around him and kind of like toying with him.
I want Lila to choke me though.
Right. Yeah. So we get Cordy comes back and she says she knows they're worried because she hasn't had a vision in a while. Fred says the title of the episode, where she's like, use that vision thing to tell me where Angel is. And in walks Gavin Park from Wolfram and Hart, a.k.a. Son from Lost, a.k.a. Daniel Day Kim, who is so hot.
I love this, man. The first thing I ever saw him in was an episode of Star Trek Voyager. It's the episode where they like discover a planet that has time pass way faster than it does for us.
I don't know Voyager as well.
They eventually discover space travel just because they want to go up and visit this thing that's always been in the sky for them that turns out to be Voyager, and he's the astronaut that ends up going up and visiting Voyager.
Oh, okay. I like that. But yeah, no, I love him. He's so hot. And I like that, like, it's almost like they were like, well, Lindsay's leaving, we got to throw in another lawyer, because he was in one episode last season where he like comes to tell them he's like the new lawyer. And then he becomes like kind of Lila's, he's more, I don't know, he's not really Lindsay's position, right? Because he's very different.
He's a foil to Lila within Wolfram and Hart, in that he's competing with her, but also going after Angel.
Yes.
But he's competing with her, but like also like she didn't even consider him competition. She's like, no. Like,
right, he thinks he's competing with her. Right, she's like, oh, there's
like, stop using my printer.
Yeah, there's a fly in my office.
Yeah, it's more like him, and their dynamic is almost like Glory and Buffy, where like Glory's just annoyed at Buffy. Like she doesn't see Buffy as like her like equal enemy. It's just like, this is an annoyance that's around me. But yeah, no, I like him. The one thing I always wish Wolfram and Hart did, that they did with Wolfram and Hart, is give us more lawyers. Like, I almost wish there was, I guess, like, you can only have so many characters, but I almost wish there was, like, you know, Lindsay left, we get Gavin, but I wish there was, like, maybe, like, 4 lawyers that we recognized, that we saw, that weren't, like, oh, they're in 2 episodes and they die, oh, then they're in 2 episodes, because we get a lot of that, where there's, like, the new boss, oh, that boss dies, oh, the new boss, that boss dies, that boss gets their head cut off, but I'm glad we add Gavin, because also in season 4, when the Beast shows up and we get to like murder all of Wolfram and Hart, it's like, I don't know, I like that like horror shit. But Gavin Park shows up, and his thing that he's fighting them with is like building violations, which sure. And I love that Lila makes fun of him for it later, where she's like, oh yeah, I'm sure that really scared Angel.
57. Is that a lot?
Well, it would have scared me. I'll tell you that. That would have worked on me. But also, they're not an up and running hotel either. So it's like, what are you going to do? Shut them down? They can have guests now?
Right?
They're going to have to evict Fred? Like, like what's going on with that?
Basically a squatter anyway. Cordelia gets her big... I like that Cordelia hits on him because she doesn't know he's one of the lawyers, and then she finds out.
And then even after he leaves, is like, whew, like those shoes.
Great suit.
That's very me and you, Kim. Like, oh yeah, he's evil. Yeah, he sucks. Ooh, but look at, like, he looks good.
Look at those arms.
Cordelia gets a vision about a coin with a hole in it. It's like a really bad vision. We see her go to the bathroom, and we see that she has those like awful slashes. Which I hate. It like upsets me seeing Cordelia being like hurt and upset. And I gotta give credit to Charisma. I mean, we always say they're all good actors, but like Charisma Carpenter is very good with the upset, like scared Cordy.
Which she doesn't overdo it.
Yes.
She never overdoes it. She sells it just enough where you're like, oh, this is an actual person experiencing pain.
Yeah. Yes, and like just she does a little tremble in her voice, and like sometimes her hand like shakes a little. Sorry, Alastair, what did you say?
Well, I was gonna say, and she keeps it together for everybody else. But at the same time, those were pretty deep, wide cuts. She should have gone to the emergency room and had those stitched up.
Where it's like, y'all, I get that these are being caused mystically, but she still needs to go to the hospital. She's covered in third-degree burns.
Like find a healer. Like
fucking aloe on that.
During this episode, I was like, find a mystical healer somewhere. And like,
you know, you bring up a good point, Alastair, because kind of like in the Marvel Netflix shows, which is like true to the comics, when Rosario Dawson plays like the nurse that kind of will like help, like goes to wherever to like help whoever like superhero problem. It would make sense if like they had access to like a supernatural hospital or like doctor to like you said, just like a mystical healer that can do a thing
that can stitch you up or maybe diagnose her, because I mean they bring Lauren in, and obviously I love whenever they bring Lauren in, but he's not a doctor.
No.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a demon, not a doctor.
Wolfram and Hart has to like, you know, they've got to all have health insurance somehow. Right? Like, there's got to be some, like, evil health insurance. In fact, you know, you don't even need to make it an evil health. It's just evil anyway if it's in America. So, like, health insurance should just be
health
evil.
Insurance.
Yeah. Just evil branch of the health insurance companies we already have.
Yeah, like, at least Wolfram and Hart's insurance would be more upfront about it, where they're like, no, we'll drop you because we hate you.
We'll give you full coverage, but your soul is going to go to hell when you die, so make the most of it.
God, I would say yes to that at this point.
God, same. I'm going to hell anyway.
This is like a pretty good deal, honestly.
Right? Like, sure. You cover
best coverage I've ever had.
So we know her visions are getting worse, and Angel is kind of the one that like really like we are building up their relationship, and I love it. I love these like steps we're taking that I can't unsee the obviousness in it. So I'm wondering, I'm like, is it that obvious? Like, would it be that obvious to someone who doesn't know?
After this episode, it would be obvious, I think.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I think this episode does a lot of work towards that.
Yeah. I think especially with Angel, like sending her back and doing all that. It was obvious that, well, because here is also where we see that Angel has noticed that the visions are taking a toll on her, right? So he might not know that there's a physical like manifestation of that toll, but he knows that there is a toll that's happening,
like something bad. Yeah,
yeah. I was expecting her to like open up the medicine cabinet, but then I think that was later that she did that.
That's in episode 1 of this season.
Oh, was that?
Right. Yes, it is.
Oh,
You're right.
Yeah, it's before she gets in the bath and Dennis scrubs her with that like loofah thing.
Oh, she looks so free. Oh,
yeah.
Mae, what do you think about the Angel Cordelia? Do you think it's like obvious after this?
To me, not really. Even on rewatch, like I talked about in the previous episode, I think they have this beautiful relationship that is somewhere in between friendship and romantic partnership. And I see that building more. I don't necessarily see it building romantic tension yet.
Okay.
I feel like that comes in later in a more obvious way. At this point, it just feels like they're getting closer, they're opening up to each other more, but that doesn't always equal romantic interest.
And I still can't believe this is how I felt, but like watching it, I did not like the idea of them together when I watched it when it was on the air. But like as an adult, I'm like, no, this feels like an adult relationship. I do really like them together because like
they have mutual respect and understanding for each other. It's
and they
very
were able
different.
Their relationship was able to grow in a way that, especially on TV shows, you often don't have time to do. But it's across 2 shows, right? So they do have a history and a past that is like no romance whatsoever. And then that is able to build into a romance. And I do really like that. I'm not sure what the hell I was thinking when I watched it live. I think I just was like, I don't ever want Spike or Angel to love anyone but Buffy. It was like, I wanted both of them to always just love her and no one else. But yeah, I don't know. As an adult, I'm like, no, I like this. This feels like an adult relationship.
Well, I think that when you're younger, you think love is so straightforward, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and you fall in love with somebody, and that's the end all be all, and it's really complicated. And I think that although they're all each other's loves, it just changes over time.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, it's like, I feel like as like a teenager, it's like you kind of romanticize the like, no, they only like, they have to love each other forever, even if they can't be together, and they just should be miserable. When in reality, it's like, well, no, they shouldn't just stay miserable if they can't be together. They should be able to move on. Yeah. So I don't know. I love seeing all these little like droplets of it. And I rag on David Boreanaz a lot with his acting because it, as Ryan Houlihan has said many times, it was a process. I think he does really well with her. Like, I think they do really well opposite each other. I think Charisma Carpenter and James Marsters, I think I say this a lot, both have chemistry with like everyone they have a scene with. So it probably isn't that hard, but I do think he bounces off really well, bounces off Charisma really well. And Angel and Cordelia they like balance each other out in a way that works really well. Jim, I was thinking about it today when I was doing this rewatch. Like, I almost would compare it to like my mom and dad's dynamic, where like one is like the calm, serious one, and one is like, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking. I'm going to speak my mind, but also I'm going to look great and wear my hoops and makeup while I'm telling you and bossing you around. So yeah, I thought about that. So she gets her vision, a coin in a hole, whatever. They go to some like, I guess it's like a magic box type thing, right?
It's like a healing shop, yeah.
Yeah, it's an herbalist shop in Chinatown.
They fight Grandma
and Beyond.
Grandma and the old man, who are also demons. Angel finds the coin. And then we cut to Lila, and she has her encounter with Gavin. A thing that I notice a lot is like the little recaps they do for like when it was on the air, where she's like, well, Lindsay left, and gives you like a pretty brief, like, in case you missed it, Lindsay left and this is why, and he put a lot of work into this, but he's gone now, and this is the new guy at Wolfram and Hart. Kind of like telling the audience. And again, Lila is not impressed. And I love that she's like, have fun fighting him with building code violations. Like, he wants her on his team. And even I'm like watching that scene, I'm like, what do you mean Lila on your team? Like, she's the boss. Like,
if anything, you should be trying to get on her team.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. we see that Cordelia is being kind of sort of babysat by Fred, who is eating peanut butter on her floor.
Again, me.
I like that Cordelia is annoyed with her, but not mean. Like, she does, like, it's like she's annoyed, but she's trying very hard not to be mean, but does want her to leave.
Yeah, and this is a place where we really see how much she's grown since high school Cordelia. Because high school Cordelia would have been like, get your weirdo butt out of my apartment. Me and my ghost are gonna go fuck.
She would have left scars.
Yeah.
She would have re-traumatized her into like a tiny cave.
Yes.
But before she can leave, Cordelia has another vision and passes out with the like boil burns awful shit on her face.
It's so horrible. And also really good prosthetic work. Yes, makeup team is really on point in this episode.
Makeup team was really good.
That one really gross, it looks like a giant pimple, and I was like, eh. Yeah. I just always am like, I would watch that popping video. My brain goes.
Oh, you're a pimple popper person. I always forget. I can't do it.
We cut to everyone in her apartment, and like the scratchy voice is also really good. I was like, shit, she did a good job with the like.
She did. I was like, you sound sick right now.
Yeah. I always wonder if she was like sick during filming or if that was just a choice. And either way, it works.
Or if she just like yelled a lot before her takes.
Yeah. Kim, you can do a scream. Does your voice get a little bit like that after you do your screams?
I only ever did like one scream ever for you, so I don't know. But yeah, you can probably make your voice scratchy. I like to make my voice. You just got to be like a little tired, and then you could and then you could like put it on a little bit, like kind of like that. I'm a little tired. I don't know.
You kind of just have to pretend you're Tom Waits,
Oh, that was good.
There we go.
I don't know. I do a lot of good voices.
Angel then goes to the key maker and encounters
this part. Give me the key. Which one?
Yes.
It turns on the lights, all the keys.
You're in a locksmith. Everything is keys. I love that Angel just goes, man. He doesn't go, oh man. He doesn't go, what the hell? He doesn't go, this sucks. He just says, man.
Yeah.
I have like many notes for many of the settings, and for locksmith it just says lots of keys, semicolon, monster. That's all there was, just keys and a monster.
Dr. Kimberly Ann Southwick.
Plus, at this point, I think like you clock onto these visions aren't normal because he's getting a coin in one and a key in the next. Like it's not normal. It's not regular for what Cordy usually does.
If you're smart and paying attention, which you are, Alastair, I was not. I was like, I don't remember where this is going. That's what I was thinking.
It's like getting a side quest,
It felt like a side quest. I felt like it was on a video game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Cordelia has been turned into an NPC and she's just like, oh, hey, go get this thing. Oh, hey, go get this thing. Oh, they're located in these two places.
Oh my gosh. And speaking of Cordelia as an NPC, oh my gosh. I know we're moving back, but how Fred compares her to Lassie.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Funny.
Because it really does sound like an insult at first.
Yeah. She said it'd be complicated, except Lassie's a dog, and then she gets compared.
Angel compares her to a car.
Yeah,
she's like,
"Am I just an object?" In this episode, Cordelia gets objectified.
Yes, as you said, that also shows how much she's grown. Because if high school Cordelia had been called Lassie, it would have been over for Fred.
Yeah.
To use modern vernacular, she would have been like, I got that dog in me, and that dog is going to tear your throat out.
Yes. Like, she would not have been okay with those comparisons.
No.
We're briefly after the locksmith in Angel headquarters, and Gunn hits on Fred. And I think he's sincere. I don't know. I kind of like that little moment. And she's just totally oblivious.
It's kind of cute because he's talking about Fred tries to apologize for making him miss out on going and fighting a monster. Right. And he's like, oh yeah, I'd much rather go do that than walk a beautiful girl home.
And she's like, it's I'm so sorry
it's
about
sweet
that.
And charming. And it's a perfect indication of Fred's character and where she is. She's, I know a lot of people like this, incredibly beautiful, charming people who you are just kind of magnetic, that have no idea when people are into them at all. Just totally oblivious.
Also, she spent all that time being called a cow and just being like livestock and not something that, not seen as somebody who's desirable in that way. So it makes sense that she would be completely oblivious to her having any sort of being attractive to anybody else.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That is your point. I forgot about the cow thing because, I guess that would kind of kill anyone's self-esteem.
So they get to Angel headquarters and there's exterminators there, which is confusing.
Yeah.
And Gunn
That
has
was
to
weird.
see like their license, and then we just never go back to that.
Yeah, that was very weird.
It's in the next episode.
Okay,
it gets addressed. Yeah, because we eventually come to discover they were sent by Wolfram and Hart, and that's how they ended up with security cameras and stuff in the Hyperion.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna say there had to be something there. We just didn't get it this episode.
Yeah.
And then we're back in Cordelia's apartment. The next important thing that happens is Lorne shows up, and he's trying to because we had a really good idea where Fred suggests that they contact the powers to be, like they trace the signal, and then Wes is kind of like, well, this must be a really important thing that's happening if these are physical manifestations. So, like, you got to go, we got to figure this out, And so I liked that the two of them kind of bounced off of each other with their areas of expertise. Like, Fred's got that sort of, like, physics thinking going on, and, like, Wes also, like, just knows a lot of stuff about research. Yeah, so I liked those two moments for them. And then, so that we're playing that out with Lorne being at Cordy's apartment, and Cordy's of course resisting. She doesn't want to do the thing.
Shout out to Wes, and librarians everywhere. Giles, librarians are awesome, and they can do anything. You can it's actually crazy the things I've seen librarians do in real life, and I think that they bring that to the screen. So thank you for that.
Librarians are some of the most resourceful people in existence.
Exactly.
Tonight's recording is with Nick G, who came on last season, who is a librarian, and I will have to let them know that we had this little aside. They will be thrilled. My friend Amanda was a librarian at a school here in Jersey, and it was like a conservative area, like rich area, and she had like gay book club, but they had to just call it book club. And it was like all the queer kids formed their own book club where they read queer books. And she threw a queer prom for them at the end of the year, but because it was conservative area, it was book club prom. Aww. And I chaperoned. And it was so cute and so sweet. And like all those kids were just like having a great time. And like teens can be ruthless, right? That is always my worry. Like every semester, I'm like, oh, are these teens going to hate me? And I remember being like, what am I going to wear to like, it's a prom, it's queer, but it's also in the library. So it's not like too fancy. And I was like, I got changed like 85 times. And when I walked in, one of the cute little gay boys went, honey, I love your outfit. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh my God. Yes. I was like thrilled.
See, librarians are just crazy good at what they do. And what they do is everything. So.
Yes. Because like that fully wasn't part of her job, but she was like, oh, I really liked it. She wanted them to have like a space where to like dance and be queer. And you know what I mean? Like dance with their partner and whatever. And it was like really sweet. And technically should have gotten in a lot of trouble for it. But so we also then go to Wolfram and Hart, and we see that Cal Penn is working for Lila. It's so weird seeing him in this role. Like, Harold and Kumar and being Obama's, I forget what he did for Obama, but he worked for him, right?
He was part of Obama's cabinet, and that's why they wrote him off house by having him die by suicide, which is still one of the most frustrating things that ever happened on that show. It really pissed me off. And yeah, he didn't come out until a few years ago, but he's gay. He's been with his partner for like 15 years or something. They have a kid or two, and he has always just seemed like a sweet guy.
Yeah. I don't think he even has a name in this episode, unless I'm wrong.
I mean, we could call him Brain Guy.
Wikipedia has him as the man wearing a fez.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have at least called him Brain Guy, made a little Mystery Science Theater reference.
Yes.
He is such a weird, silly, like when he takes off that fucking fez and it's just like a pulsating, weird brain. Like,
yeah. Again,
I'd be wearing a fez too.
Good work,
honestly.
makeup team.
I would too. True. If I had that big pulsating, gross brain under, I would just be like, I'm always wearing a hat forever.
Hey, the doctor says fezzes are cool.
My name is Young Man with a Fez, actually.
Yeah, that's actually Yeah, thank you.
I've seen them do incredible work with wigs these days. So
true. Next episode, I'm going to have a very long, luscious wig. Calpen does a thing with his brain. This confused me a little bit. I don't know if any of you had. I was like, wait a minute, is he just now invading her visions? Because I felt like he was newly hired, but it's supposed to be the whole episode he's been doing it, right?
Correct.
He's in her office when we get that first encounter, and she's like, "Oh, I'll be right back," sort of coyly. That makes it
was that
seem
him?
like,
okay,
yeah,
I do remember that. Okay, yes, I didn't pay attention to who it was. That makes sense.
The reason we get that whole to do later is that Lila wants him to finish doing what he's been doing, and he needs to fill out his 1099 so that he can get paid because he's an independent contractor.
I love that. It's always the evil corporations that bring in all these 1099s, all the building codes, all the really evil stuff in the world.
Yeah, bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is an integral part of capitalism. Capitalism would not work without it. So it is one of the most evil facets of capitalism, in my opinion.
Also, and as someone who freelances a lot, I fucking hate filling out all that freelance paperwork.
Oh my God, it's so annoying.
Such a nightmare. So he tells her she got the message. Angel, we go back to Angel and Cordelia. And I really like their convo here where she's like, am I that bad? And he's like, this isn't happening because you're bad. It's happening because you're strong, which I don't know. I would feel the same way about as Cordelia does, right? Like, oh, so I'm being rewarded because I'm strong by getting like boils on my face. Great, cool. Like I would prefer not to. And like you said, Mae, it's very human of her. Like, I get it when she's like, I just don't want these visions anymore if this is what this is, because that is miserable, right? Like,
yeah.
It is not sustainable, and she knows that. I feel like Angel knows that. That's why he is scared, and you kind of feel that, right? Even when he's consoling her, you get that he is a little scared for her, right?
Well, she also says that she'll be useless without the visions, and she's like, no, you won't be useless, which we know that she won't be useless without the visions. She's obviously part of the Scooby Gang, all that stuff, but it is like a key part of her character now.
Yeah.
And it's not something that she wants to lose. And it's definitely something that she appreciates having, as especially we see throughout this season.
Yeah. And Alastair, you saying that reminded me of Rogue from the X-Men, right? Like that's the third X-Men movie where they're like, oh, it's a cure. And they do the stupid thing and have her get a cure, which totally undercuts the metaphor. But like, those are her powers, but her powers do like negatively affect her, but like her powers are why she's part of the X-Men.
Which is, I think, especially in the superhero genre, like a big aspect of their characters. Like you always have Buffy coming to terms with her power and that it's part of her, and then reading all these fantasy books, you always have people like okay, now there's usually a plot point where people have to come to a decision whether they're going to keep whatever they have or not. And usually they decide to keep it because it's already part of them. It's integral to who they are as a person.
Yeah. If they don't have a choice, they're often like, they don't want the powers. They just want to be normal. Like Buffy goes through that and Sailor Moon goes through that too.
I love when you fit in a Sailor Moon reference, Kim.
As Mae and I are rewatching, so it's kind of cool now that she's old enough to like. She's like, Sailor Venus is my favorite. And I'm like, I love you so much.
Zach and I started watching the new Sailor Moon movie on Netflix. I think it came out like a year or so ago, and then we had to stop watching it because it got weird real quick.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out then.
Maybe by myself.
Well, especially with her daughter kind of crushing on her husband. It was weird.
Ew.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I do love Sailor Moon, though.
That's like some Game of Thrones shit there.
Yeah.
Says the girl who's never read or watched anything Game of Thrones.
I mean, okay, like, don't hear me out here. Like, Oedipus, like, I don't believe in Freud and stuff, but like all that Oedipus stuff is like kind of real in a way where like often like children like are like the only man that they know is their dad. So like they're like Esme's like, oh, I'm gonna marry daddy, and I'm like, no, you're not, honey. That's illegal. And that's like normal because it's like the man that they know in their life. You know what I mean? And then once they're old enough, then it's like less normal. They figure it out quickly.
And I do feel like some weirdo white people in Bright. That's like I feel like weirdo white people. Like I saw a shirt that was like advertised to me on Instagram, and it was like, my dad will always be my first boyfriend, my blah, and it was like for like, and it had like an American flag and a cowboy hat on it, but it was like,
yeah, it's like there's wine mom culture where it's like, I drink because of my kids or whatever, which is really toxic. But then there's also the
boy mom,
like weird, creepy, like dad-daughter stuff where it's like if you're a girl, you're supposed to be in love with your dad. And if you're dad, you're supposed to have this weird psychosexual attachment to your daughter. And that those are norms within our society that are not only accepted, but encouraged. It's disturbing.
And it goes both ways with the boy mom thing. Like it's, it gets pretty creepy there. Like someone saying, hey, my posted, hey, my son is dating, I don't know what to do because I'm the only woman in his life, but he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. Let him go date.
20 years old. Oh, God. The thing we really breeze by in this episode is when Wesley informs Angel that all the demons he killed were good. And he's like, oh, they were fighting for good. And Angel's like, oh, it's so hard to tell these days. And then we just
can't they wear lapel pins?
Yeah, but does he ever like not kill people?
I mean, he didn't kill Skip.
Yeah,
true.
And
but he knew Skip was good. You know, Skip was like, hey, I'm powers that be. I'm on the same side. And then he didn't kill him,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
With the people in the herbalist store, they're like, oh, let's grab that before they come too. Like, they specifically say that.
Mm.
Okay.
Good thing you were paying attention, Jim, because I was not. So we learned that, like, the key and the coin all, like, you know, he goes to threaten Lila. We learn that he has to use those to, like, get into whatever hell dimension. It's like the key and the lock, I guess. I like that he doesn't even flinch about like, yep, that's what I'm going to do, because that's what I will save Cordelia. Like, once he knows that's how to get Cordelia safe. And I feel like an earlier season Angel might have, like season 1 Angel or like season 3 of Buffy Angel might have been like, well, but he'll be bad, the guy that I break out. But I like that he like loves her and he's just like, okay, that's what I have to do. Then that's what I'm doing.
You know what I love about this is that he could obviously just threaten Lila with death. And then Lila would more likely than not just release Cordelia. Be like, okay, I don't want to die. But he was like, I got to do this for the plot. So he's like, I'm a dramatic, brooding soul. I got to do this for the plot. And he does it.
That is true. So he uses it to like open. It's so weird that like, I don't dislike this episode, but it's like really weird to be like, what is the plot? And like the forward action is kind of like a C plot almost. Like it's like Cordelia's visions are affecting her, how the gang's dealing with it. And then like, also Angel does a thing to get a guy out that we will address later. But yeah, he goes into the dimension. It kind of looks like Freddy Krueger's dream world a little bit.
Or like a random room in a Halloween store.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
This is the guy on fire room. You can get this whole setup for like $500.
Yes, exactly.
But
skulls in the walls are extra.
Speaking of makeup earlier, Skip's whole ensemble, the whole design, perfect. I loved it.
Good.
Yes.
It's so weird because it does look like it's like a bunch of things, because there's like the big like ring in his chin. There's only one horn. The other one's like a little guy. Like, and then there's like the headpiece. Yeah. That like, I feel like I didn't appreciate it as much when I watched it the first time, but like looking back, I'm like, this is pretty like, especially for these shows, like it's a big design. I mean, he's a big guy, but it's like a big design. The shoulder pads are huge. The headpiece is huge. I would love to know how uncomfortable that was to wear, or like how much it weighed.
That would have been hot to wear.
It looks like it's made of latex, like foam latex, so it's probably
pretty
not
light,
as heavy as you would think.
Yeah, that's true.
If they were silicone pieces, they'd be a lot heavier. I have watched every season of Face Off multiple times, and I am by no means an expert on special effects makeup, but I know some things about it. So it's probably less heavy than you would think, but there are a lot of pieces, and some of them are costume but some of them are definitely appliances that are directly on him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it looks impeccable. Like, he looks like he is just made of that stuff, and it's fantastic.
Yes, because sometimes in Buffy and Angel, you can kind of see the seams, you can kind of see, and I feel like it does. I mean, maybe it's just there's so many things that's why, but like you don't really see it, like the seams, and see where it's like, oh, well, that part's coming off there or whatever.
Yeah, it's a really well designed makeup,
and he can move in it well, which sometimes they can't on these shows. Like sometimes their heads like.
Right, and especially during when he and Angel are actually fighting, it is just moving with him, and it doesn't look awkward.
Yeah.
There was a bit where his spine moved. You know, that's just on his back, like during the fighting. But also, like the fact that you can do all that makeup and everything together, and then also do a fight choreography with it. Great job. And then we see Angel kind of thinking of not saving him when he's grabbed by the guy in the fire. He's like, Plus, it was just funny how casual Skip was. He's like, he's in pain, but I turned off the sound because, there's only so many like screams of pain that you can actually hear, I was like,
that whole conversation, it like really lifted this episode up for me, like by far.
Oh, yeah. I love when he saves him from Billy and he's like, Skip, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, good. Sorry about this. And then knocks him out with another punch. Yeah. And it's just the moments where Angel gets to be a charming goofball. And this has been discussed many times on this podcast, but those are his most shining moments because David Boreanaz is more of a comedic actor than he is a dramatic actor. So when he has the chance to inject a little humor into things, even when it's very dry humor, those are the moments where he shines. And
I
it's
100%
nice that,
agree.
Yeah, it's nice that he gets some of those in this episode that could otherwise be extremely heavy and upsetting.
Yes. Yeah, this dialogue here between Skip and Angel before the fight, this feels so Buffy or Buffyverse to me. Like, this is like the shit we love, right? Where it's like, it's like a big scary demon, but he's just like a chill guy who's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, blah, blah. Oh, aren't you good? Like,
I commute.
I love that. Yeah.
I commute.
Only about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Like shit like that is... I feel like a lot of other shows, and I mean, Alastair, I feel like you and I have read plenty of books that try to replicate this kind of dynamic. Don't always quite get to the level that the Buffyverse did of like balancing the like, they're conversing, and then Angel's still going to kick his ass because he needs to bail the guy out. Where it's like casual, and the demon is maybe big and scary, but talks just like a regular person. Like I love that. And that's what I always want in my like supernatural shit. And it doesn't always quite land when they try to do the Buffy thing. But yeah, they have a fight. I was mad at myself for when Angel gets him free. And I was like, oh, this guy's hot. Wait, this guy's terrible. I forgot.
Okay. No. He's only hot because he's on fire. As soon as he does that downward head tilt and stare at Angel, which he does again when he gets in the limo at the end, that is one of the most terrifying facial expressions I have ever seen on a human being. It is just pure fucking evil.
Credit to the actor, because I immediately, as soon as he lifted his face, I was like, fuck boy. That's a fuck boy right there.
Yeah.
Well, makes sense that I thought he was hot then.
Yeah. I was like, that guy is a douchebag and he's playing it real well. Yeah.
Just Ian's type.
Yeah. So then Angel gets him out. We have our exchange. He gives them Billy. They give Tim Cordelia's whatever. Like, they stop interfering. And this is a scene that I vividly remembered of Cal Penn getting the rebar through his big gross brain head. I just was like, but maybe Angel, like, if we were just fucking with Cordelia, it seems like a risk to be like, I'm still going to kill someone that's on your team. Like, I would be worried that, like, well, here's our backup big brain guy. Now he's invading Cordelia again.
Yeah.
See, I was more worried for
he's
Lila.
an independent contractor.
True. I also like that you were fearing for Lila.
well, because I was like, okay, this mission of hers went off without a hitch. You know, she got an asset back for Wolfram and Hart, but she also lost an asset at the same time.
She did. That's
so
true.
I was like, I want her to win big.
Although I feel like this is like a big win for her because Wolfram and Hart probably does not give a shit if like the hired like freelancer got killed in the.
But the look on the guy's face when he was like, he put the ropes up on the car and he looked at Angel like, and Angel's like, I'm going to regret this. Or like he knew he was going to regret it. Yeah.
Billy is like literally like, I'm going to be a problem for you later. Like, yeah. So yeah, and then Angel, you know, tells Lila very sternly that if she tries to go get at him through Cordelia again, he will kill her. And I gotta say, like, it worked for me. I'm like, ooh, Angel, talk like that about me. Like, defend me like that.
That worked for me, but I almost wish that he would have structured that, like, especially as the leader of the team of Angel Investigations, if you ever go after my team.
True.
Right?
True.
Because then she's like, okay, I won't go after Cordelia. Wesley, you're up next. You know, like
Wes, Fred, and Gunnar are like, what about us though? Can you throw us in that too? So we get our, you know, little end scene with Angel and Cordelia, and I love it. She's like cooking them breakfast, but she can't really cook, so she's in the toaster. And it's a really cute scene between the two of them. You know, she says like, what you did for me was unbelievably selfless and brave and amazing. And he says, you know, which we do get to, that he can't be upset about the guy he freed. He'll worry about that later, which he very much will. And I gotta say, that is the kind of shit that I do like that Angel did, that Buffy didn't always do, where it'd be like, this guy's in this episode. He is going to be a problem in 2 episodes, but it's like, that's it. It's not like he's like a major villain. It's just like, we do go back to him in 2 episodes or 3. And I do like those little like mini arcs that Angel does well. Because like with Buffy, this would have been like, maybe we'd see him one season. We'd see Billy being bad the next season or something. But I don't know. I like that Angel has like little mini arcs on top of their like major arc. But yeah, I like this little wrap up. I like that it's just them. They really, really like starting in season 2, but then here, like, they are very much like, I feel like this is the season Angel and Cordelia become almost co-main characters, kind of the way Buffy and Willow do by like season 6 of Buffy. Alastair, I'm curious what you think about that.
No, I really like the scene. I'd forgotten about the scene until I watched it, and I think it was a nice, like, sweet moment for them, but also like a continuation of like the relationship, like we talked about at the towards the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah.
About them kind of setting up this friendship that can be more for them, and this special relationship that they have, and just having a special moment, which I love about long form like seasons like this, where we have 22 episodes where you can really set that stuff up. And also like when she was pouring the syrup, I at first thought she was pouring blood on his, and then she started pouring on hers, and I was like, no, it's actual syrup. So
I guess that would make sense, though.
Wouldn't it be cute if she made him like a little blood syrup mixture,
so that he could
little sweet, sweet blood. Yeah,
she does that at the end of season 2 when they're all in her apartment. I think she like hands them all a drink, and she does hand him like blood, and she like
a spiced up blood. Yeah,
and I do like that. Oh, go ahead, Mae.
Oh, it just made me think of Spike crumbling up the Weetabix into his mugs of blood.
And I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, yeah, you might want a little, like, change up your blood, right? Like,
a little blood cocktail, you know?
Or like a blood latte.
That add a salt rim, you know?
Yeah.
Alistair, that is absolutely how you can make it.
You can make a Bloody Mary, but with blood. They should have made a Bloody Mary.
We end the episode, and then we get our little epilogue, which I forgot that we get these so often. Like, I kind of thought we, like, see that Darla's pregnant and we don't see her again. I like that we get these little, like, nope, Darla's on her own journey. She's going to see the shaman that the guy last episode told her about. Angel, Alastair, I just called you Angel. Jesus Christ. Alastair, what do you think of...
Alastair, you're an angel. There, I fixed it.
I appreciate it. Let me get my moody face on.
Yes, be a little moody. What do you think of the Darla pregnancy plotline?
I hate it.
Honestly. Oh, really?
I don't hate many plot lines in the Buffyverse, but I don't necessarily hate the pregnancy plot line. I hate what comes out of it. Right?
That's
yeah.
I hate the outcome.
Yes.
And honestly, but even when it was on, I didn't care so much. But I think it was also because I was really feeling at the time the Angel Cordelia of it all, right? And I was like, how is this going to complicate that for the because I mean it will complicate it, and so I wasn't looking forward to it as this was airing.
I can remember. I still sometimes misremember it as her and Angel had sex. But they didn't. I always think like, oh, well, they had sex before she was a vampire. That's why she's pregnant. But no, they had sex after she became a vampire. And that's why it's so weird. In my brain, this lasts like all season. I forgot she does give birth like a little bit like farther along than like midway into the season. But also it takes a while for her to get to Angel. Like, I don't think she gets to him till like 6 episodes in.
Yeah, it takes a while. And I'm surprised that Darla, I mean, she's trying to figure out what's wrong with her, right? But like, I'm surprised she didn't like go a different route. If like to
just get rid of it, magic abortion. Yes.
No. That's what she's trying to do with this shaman.
Is it?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
you're right. She says she
literally what she's trying to do. The shaman is trying to undo the pregnancy, essentially, and he says this has never failed me, but it does, which means it is a very mystically protected pregnancy.
I do also keep going back to like, but if it's so mystical, why? And then I'm like, right. We get the kind of rewrite in season 4 that it was all the bad guys like doing. It wasn't the good powers that be, because Connor really is kind of like nothing but an annoyance.
Yes. The bad haircut.
A memorable annoyance.
Yes.
I hate that I had a crush on Vincent Kartheiser because
I did too.
Because of the movie Masterminds with Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart is the bad guy in the movie. He like holds a boarding school hostage.
Oh, I do remember that movie.
Vincent Kartheiser had snuck out of school or something. So he becomes the one who is, it's basically Die Hard, but in high school.
Remind me, I could be mixing this up with something else. Is there a scene that maybe stuck with me where the boys get like punished?
Not that I remember.
I feel like there's like a caning, and I remember thinking it was going to be something sexier, but it was like they get hit with like a cane, maybe.
Oh, maybe I don't remember.
Whatever.
Maybe that's what you wanted to happen.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like my brain's remembering what I wanted it to be.
I think I watched Angel and Mad Men around the same time. Because of when you told me to watch them. And so like I hate his character in Mad Men so much. Mm-hmm. I think maybe I watched Angel like right before or right after. But yeah, just so many bad feelings about that character that like this actor is like forever scarred with that character's badness for me.
Well, I gotta say, I did have a crush on Connor at first. Until he became
with
like
that haircut.
He looked like someone I would have seen at like a fucking Taking Back Sunday show. Like, it's not that far off.
Oh gosh.
We were attracted to men with that haircut. It happens.
Yeah.
You would have thought there was better barbers in that hell dimension.
Not in the time period.
Those
were the best barbers. That's the thing.
Yeah. That was like the like cool haircut. I gotta say, Julie Benz is so fucking good. They give her like these like short, like 3-minute scenes, and she like makes sure you remember them. Like I love Darla's attitude of like, get this fucking thing out of me, and she's just annoyed, right? Like when the like shaman is like nervous cutting her hand, and she's like, oh my god, men are such babies, and like cuts her own hand. Julie Benz's acting choices are really great for Darla. Like she kind of chews the scenery, but like, I mean that in the best way possible, right? Like, she's good. She's great. She's like so annoyed, so fucking frustrated at having this like baby in her that she does not want, that she can't get rid of. And I this Darla is maybe my favorite Darla, is like the version we get in season 3 where she's pregnant and annoyed. I love a villain who has to kind of be forced into like almost doing good, kind of, or like doing regular things, like, you know, she's pregnant, just go to the doctor. I love that.
She's so magnetic on screen. Like anytime she's on screen, and I know Julie Benz originally went for I think Buffy's part, right? And then they kept her on as Darla, as a smaller, and then they brought her back, and then they kept on bringing her back. And honestly, I think that's one of the best decisions that they've ever made is to keep on bringing her back and making that little brat pack of like her, Spike, Drusilla, Angel. Which honestly, if they had their own like little show, I would watch it. I would definitely watch that show.
Absolutely would have watched that. It's so. I mean, by the time this comes out, I will have already interviewed her. I'm interviewing Julie Benz next week, and I was like doing some like research of like stuff she said, and she actually said that like she was the test subject for the vampire makeup because she's in the unaired pilot. Like she was the first person they ever did it on, so she was their test subject, and that she was even in like when they hired her, it was you're just going to be this random vampire that didn't have a name that was going to die in the episode, but then they liked her so much they didn't kill her because like Joss Whedon really liked her acting and they wanted to keep her around. And then they because they liked the actor, they created this backstory in Darla, which I kind of love.
I mean, it's crazy to say that. Yeah. She's like is she the first person we see in Buffy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, also Julie Benz is part of like 10 different fandoms. Like she's been in Saul. Was on Dexter. Yeah. Like Jawbreaker, which has a huge cult following. We love someone who has range. All right. Well, we are at the end. What was your favorite scene, Mae?
Darla. I'm going to say the same thing I did in the last episode. Darla just swoops in at the very end of the episode and does something very compelling with her limited screen time. But I love meeting Skip. And I love that whole scene, and every line that he and Angel exchange is magnificent. So kind of a tie between those two, but Darla edges it out just a little.
Kim?
Mine was the Skip Angel scene for sure.
Fair. Alastair?
I think the Skip and Angel scene was definitely the best scene. Well, at least the most Buffyverse scene in like the episode. But I do want to say I want to shout out Charisma Carpenter and the Cordelia scene of her suffering in the bathroom. I think that she communicates so much without saying anything, and I think that was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's true. I also Angel and Skip because I just love it. Favorite outfit, Kim?
So at the very end, when they're like under that bridge and exchanging things, I wrote down, "Can these cars be my favorite outfit?" Because I just love those like big, huge, boxy cars so much. And like basically a car's an accessory. It's just like a really big one. Like I like to consider my car like a really big purse that I drive around. So now that I've revealed these things about myself, can those cars be my favorite outfit?
Now I'm just imagining a transformer that goes from a car to a purse. It's never like an anthropomorphic robot. It's just a car or a purse.
Yes, perfect. That's what I want.
Well, like Dragon Ball, where they used to do like their little vehicles in the like little pill form.
I used to always say that I wish I had like a computer or a phone or a car that could fold up into my pocket. Those were like, I would always say like, I wish, because, you know, back in the day when we did not have our like good cameras on our phones, I would bring my giant fucking Nikon or Canon with me out to like the club because I loved taking pictures when we were like out. I actually ended up getting a bunch of like, I feel like Kim, I got more freelance photography jobs than I got anything else in New York. And that was not what I wanted to do. It was just because I had my camera a lot and people would be like, "Oh, you take pictures. Let me hire you to do this." Mae, what is your favorite outfit?
When Angel goes to see Lila in her office, she's wearing this cute little black dress that is like in between office wear and athleisure.
Okay.
And it's something that I would probably wear. But I like it on her because she just, I mean, she always looks gorgeous, even when she's in horrible clothing. But in that especially, she feels a little bit more down to earth because she's not wearing one of her power suits, which I do love. She feels a little more casual and a little more approachable and a little more like I could walk up to her and go, hey, I'll buy you a drink if you slap me around.
Fair. She'd probably be down.
Yeah.
Alastair?
So I want to say Gavin, just because Cordelia herself just shouts him out so hard, but really I'm going to say Skip.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that he had an excellent outfit. He was serving looks, slaying the runway, as people say.
Slaying the
I want Skip the character to be a guest judge on Drag Race. Can you imagine that?
My
her pussy's on fire, and I know a thing or two about things being on fire.
Yeah. For me, it's got to be Cordelia's first outfit. She has like a maybe peasant top type of thing, and she looks really cute.
Ties.
Yeah, Cordelia. I feel like Cordelia, they often put her in very dated outfits, but she makes them still look really good. But yeah, that's my favorite.
Awesome.
What grade do we give this episode, Alastair?
A.
Kim?
B.
Mae?
A-.
All right, I give it a B. I feel like I'm always the harshest grader on Angel and on the Magicians.
I was expecting you to go a little lower there, but then I was like, maybe he'll say B plus, and we'll have like a beautiful range. But you agreed with me. You're weighing it down over here.
Thank you to the three of you. Alastair, I'm so happy to have you for Angel Season 3. It's part of the team. And if you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can watch our videos because now all of them will be video recordings on our YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe to us. Please give us a good rating. It really helps the podcast. You can follow us on Patreon, where you can support us and listen to our X-Men the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series coverage. I also do a sex talk show with Alastair's husband, Zach, called My Nudie Judy. We try to do 2 a month. Any and all support is much appreciated. If you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I'm at ENXCarlos on all social media platforms. Kim, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Twitter at Kim Ann Jo South, or my website is KimberlyAnnSouthwick.com. It's mostly my poetry website.
And Alastair, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Alastair J Patton on all socials, and then I also do a little Hello Gentle Viewers book club on the AZB Plus Patreon.
And Mae, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at EversonPoe. That's EversonPoe. You can find my music on Bandcamp and streaming services by searching for Everson Poe, 2 separate words. You can find me co-hosting The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast, over on the Bloody Disgusting Podcast Network. You can find me here on Slayerfest, and you can find me on Tender Subject, co-hosting with Kate Terry.
All right, everyone. Well, we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.